So good evening, you absolute legends. Thank you so much for coming back to join me on one of these broadcasts. We do this every single week on a Monday night, 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. But I say every week. The last 2 weeks, we haven't done it. One, because I was in the States for 1 week. And I was just trying to remember before I went live then. I was talking in the lobby area to a few of you guys. Was it a bank holiday the week before that? I don't know. I can't remember. But we've only been live 1 week in May so far. It's May the 30th, 2022, as I'm going live right now. So this is, are we halfway through the year already almost? It's crazy how quick this year is going. So we've got loads to catch up on tonight. Going to be live for the next 56 minutes, actually, until 10 p.m, talking everything to do with acting, the industry, auditioning, casting, anything you want to talk about. I've got loads of videos to play out for you from member-only sessions on actonthis.tv because I've not been live for 2 weeks. We've got lots to catch up on there. Going to be throwing the floor open to you guys as well. I'll answer any questions you could possibly want to throw at me within reason to do with acting. So ultimately, we're just going to have a nice time until 10 p.m. Thank you to those people who are joining me on Facebook. I've seen all you guys there. I see your comments coming through. I'm going to check those out in a minute. If you are listening on the audio experience or you're listening to any of the replays, or watching any of the replays on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Spotify or iTunes, wherever you basically listen to this or watching it, thank you so much if it's on a recording, but do come and join us live one Monday night if you can. I'm going to go over to actonthis.tv for those people who might not have a clue what I'm talking about or they might not have seen this broadcast before. This is a website that I created 12 years ago now. It's the biggest community of actors, just full stop online for TV acting. It's the biggest in the world. It's the biggest community of TV actors in the world. Every single week, we sit down with a top agent, casting director, writer, producer, director, basically a top industry pro. And I really mean the best of the best. Casting directors casting literally the biggest projects in the world. Agents repping the biggest actors in the world. Oscar-winning casting directors, Oscar-winning actors, writers, BAFTA winners, everybody. We've been doing that this month in May. If I go over to the preview section, what a recap tonight, guys. What a recap on 3 features, because obviously I've not been live for a couple of weeks. The first one I'm going to look at tonight is this feature that we did, a 90-minute feature with casting associate Kate Bone from Nina Gold and Robert Stern's office, probably the biggest casting office in the UK. They cast massive, massive stuff right now. The Crown, season 6 for Netflix. I'm going to look at that in a minute. Then going to look at this session that we did with Leon Lopez, incredible actor turned director. He's currently directing Midsomer Murders, but he also directs Hollyoaks, Emmerdale, Coronation Street, EastEnders. He's just a really, really great, inspirational guy who's just, cut his own path into the industry, basically. Gone from acting into directing. And then this week, we had this guy. This was wicked. Lee Boardman, such a good actor. One of the best actors I know, full stop. He's currently starring opposite Liam Neeson in a film that's due out later this year in the UK. It's just come out in America called Memory. He plays this geezer here, who's a bit of an assassin for hire. He's Liam Neeson's mate, although I think they have a fight in it from what I saw in the trailer. And we had a session with Lee this week, 90-minute session with Lee as well, basically talking about his career. And on that session, man, let me know if you were on it, because I'm not going to play it out. I'm not going to play the bit out that I'm talking about now. He mentioned a self-tape strategy that I think was pretty game-changing, that really influenced the way I did a self-tape this week for a really decent Paramount show, a big show that is so different for me. Like, it's really different if I get this. Different kind of characters to what I would normally play. Like, really different. And it's like a big show. But shooting that self-tape, what Lee talked about within that broadcast really changed the way that I went about shooting the tape. So let me know. Evie, good evening. I can see you've just joined on Facebook. Let us know if you were on that session with Lee and what your biggest takeaway was. I can see Georgie says there it was a great session with Lee. Lee's an absolute legend, says Emma. Kate, how you doing? Good evening. Brendan, good to see you, mate. You jumped on to talk to Lee the other night. Hope you're well, dude. Gary, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. So we've got loads to kind of catch up on there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play just a clip of like each out. One thing's going to be like a mashup of just different bits from within each feature. And then I've chosen for a couple, not all, but a couple of standalone pieces just to sort of hit home some of the main takeaways that were in that, they were in each of those sessions. And then I'd be intrigued if you were there and you're live now. Let me know what your biggest takeaway from each of those was. So first of all, I'm going to play this mashup from Kate Bone. Like I say, casting associate on season 6 of The Crown. Also worked with Nina Gold and Robert Stern to cast things like Chernobyl, Game of Thrones, massive stuff. And Kate's just brilliant. She's just so no nonsense, lovely, really champions actors. If you ever get to audition for her, or if you want to know how you could get to audition for her, go and watch the full version of this chat, a 90-minute chat with Kate. You learn all about how she works, how she finds actors, how Nina and Robert find actors for the biggest projects. If you're not watching chats like that, I think you're hurting your acting career. But here's 2 minutes of what you missed. Casting associate to Nina Gold and Robert Stern. She's helped cast some of the biggest shows on earth, from epics like Game of Thrones to Netflix's Golden Globe winning The Crown. It's Kate Bone in the house. Kate, welcome to Act on This. Thank you so much for being here. How are you this evening? What show do you think's had the biggest impact on you personally in terms of your development as a, like in casting?
The Crown has been life-changing because I've been on it from day one. And it's been years. And I've really learnt I was assistant the first season on that, and then I've been associate since.
How would you sort of like break down an episode of The Crown?
So once we get the big players sorted, we'll then, as it comes up, we try to cast a month in advance as we go along.
What was the decision behind that going, we're going to throw this open? Like, I think it's great, to give undiscovered talent a chance, I guess.
We got overwhelmed with Kate Middleton. The boys, not so much, but we got really great options for them. Kate Middleton went bananas.
For people who are meeting you for the first time, or maybe auditioning for you, anything that they should, I don't know, kind of try and cater to?
It's really good for you guys to know that I need a peppering of arrogance. I want you to take the lead. So when someone comes in and says, hi, brilliant, where do you want me? Right, let's go. And then when I'm reading, I'm having to keep up with you. That is a joy, but ultimately always think that you're there to make the other actor look good.
What's the best way to do this without being sort of a pest?
The reality is I will only meet people that I've met through casting calls, workshops, things like this along my path.
What's a good way of sort of staying on the radar?
We keep absolutely every tape and we reference them all the time.
When your goal is to go from day player to multi-episode or supporting roles,
always think about the project, the other person in the scene, and be collaborative.
Boom. If you want to, and you should want to, because there's so much golden advice within that chat. If you want to get access to the full 90-minute recording of that, if you missed it live, it's in the members area right now over on actonthis.tv. Go and get a membership. You'll get to join calls like that every single week with the biggest names in the game, ultimately for less than, you get to join 7 a month for less than everyone else is charging you for 1. Basically, you will get access to 14 hours of coaching a month for what basically costs you a large coster a week, pretty much. Actonthis.tv if you want to get involved in that. I can see the comments coming through on Facebook. Evie said that she sent Kate a cheeky email today. Loved their insight. And that's another thing as well. All the guests who jump on these chats basically give their contact details away and tell you exactly what you need to do to reach out to them and what they want to see from you in order to make an impact. So you're not guessing. I keep seeing, it does my head in a little bit, and I don't know how. I need your help really as a community. I don't know how much more I can do to make actors aware that we're doing this, because I keep seeing on Twitter, I saw it again today, the same tweets over and over and over again. Like, just wanted just to put it out there. Is it okay to contact a casting director? Can I send them a showreel? Can I send them a CV? I'm like, it's not okay. It's absolutely freaking essential that you do it. And if you just got involved in this community, not only would you get to potentially speak to these people one-to-one on a Zoom session, but even if you don't, you get to hear exactly what it is that they need from you, how they want you to send the email, what to put in it, what not to put in it, what they want in showreels, what they don't. the people in our community who are basically jumping on these calls, or if they can't make them live, watching the recordings and acting on specifically the information that these people are giving you, they're landing castings every week. I mean, seriously, you know, I helped 2 actors this week in the community with self-tapes for a massive new Russell T Davies show. I myself just taped for a huge show that Steven Spielberg's the producer of. First time I've ever had anything, you know, that kind of big. But I'm practicing all of this stuff that people are, you know, this information that people are giving us in these lives, guys. And if you're not, people sort of like, I don't know why people would not like just flick that switch in the head that goes, hang on a minute, this is a massive shortcut to figuring out how I progress my acting career. It's insane if you're just going to continue to struggle and put tweets out on Twitter about how hard everything is, and yet this information is just there for you on a plate. Sharon, good evening. How are you doing? Says, I definitely need to catch up. Missed Thursday's session because I was filming. Well, that is a valid excuse. That is, Sharon, because that's the whole point of this community, to get you out there and and get you filming. So there was one thing in that chat with Kate there that you heard in that little snippet, in that mashup, that she said around what she needs from actors in an audition. And I think it's a really interesting point, and I'm going to play out an expanded version of that clip for you now. Giving you free stuff, even if you're not a member of Acts on this. And it's around what she said about having a peppering of arrogance, right? There's a fine line, people always say, between confidence and arrogance, okay? And there is, but I think you can be positively arrogant to a certain extent where you're still not a twat. Where you actually go into a room and you take control of the room in a nice way without being an arrogant idiot, basically. And a lot of actors, when I worked in casting for 2 years, from like 2011 till 2013. A lot of actors went into auditions where I was reading in, really disempowered and apologising before they've even opened their mouth, like to do with the script. They're already saying at the casting director, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I only got the script late last night. I've not managed to learn all of the lines." Or, "Oh God, I'm really stressed because I couldn't get a parking space outside." Or they'd be apologising for their voice, like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I've got a bit of a croaky voice today." And they hadn't. I don't even know where that kind of comes from. It's like the croaky voice was probably just because they're stressing themselves out. So this little clip about having a peppering of arrogance as in basically show that you are in control of your own shit when you get into a casting, I think is really interesting. Let me know in the chat what you think of it, but this is just 2 minutes on that. It's the first time I've kind of heard this put in the way Kate puts it, but I think it is really, really valid.
It's really good for you guys to know that I need a peppering of arrogance. I don't want to feel like I'm catching you. I want you to take the lead. So when someone comes in and says, "Hi, brilliant, where do you want me? Right, let's go." And then when I'm reading, I'm having to keep up with you. That is a joy. Then I feel, okay, you can walk on a set with Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
And hold your own. Obviously, I don't want you to be unpleasant.
Yeah.
I don't need any new mates. I've got plenty of mates. But
Yep.
I want you to be professional and confident and have a little peppering of arrogance. And I mean that very carefully. But particularly when you sit down in that chair or you press record on your self-tape, that's your 3 minutes. That's your time. Make it count. Don't worry about anyone else or anything else. You're the most important thing in terms of your confidence. And I think that needs to come through. But ultimately, always think that you're there to make the other actor look good. Like, it's not all about me, this scene. What I'm here is to make you look really, really good. And if you have that in the back of your mind and you can do that to your best of your ability, it kind of takes the pressure off your shoulders a little bit. It's so interesting when I'm looking at tapes, whether that actor is just thinking about what they're doing, what they're saying, but they're not connecting with the other person. And I don't care if they're not good readers. I don't care if it's a self-recording of your voice. I want to believe that Leonardo DiCaprio is the other side of that camera. You've got to make me believe that you're reading with Imelda Staunton and you're coming up to her level and you're making her look good and you're reacting with her. Make it all about the other person, which seems like I'm contradicting what I've just said about the confidence, but it's not. It's with that arrogance that you can look Leonardo DiCaprio in the eye and do a really good scene with him.
Yep.
You've got to have that bit of arrogance in you, but it is all about the other person in the scene. I think that just helps with making the self-tape sort of more fluid, less static and all about you and sweaty nerves. Make the other person look really, really great.
Boom! It's all about making the other person look good. So yeah, it's having that arrogance, ultimately, you know, that confidence, just extreme confidence in your own ability, that's gonna signal to a casting director that, you know what, yeah, if you did walk on a set with Olivia Colman or, you know, Imelda Staunton, that you could hold your own if you were acting opposite them in The Crown or one of these massive shows that Kate and the team are casting. So I think I'm gonna do more Act on This sessions around confidence, mindset, and positive psychology. And also sort of like the real science behind, I got obsessed with this like over a decade ago, the real science behind confidence, manufacturing authentic confidence, you know, manufacturing the physiology authentically, biologically, to actually make your body create the chemicals that like are going to make you feel confident, the dopamine, the serotonin, as opposed to most people's bodies flushed with epinephrine, which is adrenaline basically, when they walk into a casting and they're shaking and shitting their pants going, I'm going to forget my lines, I'm going to let me know in the chat if you'd be up for this as well. I'm going to throw, like I say, I've been obsessed with this. People who've been around Acts on This a long time will know back in 2014-15, I did a program called Bulletproof Actor. It was called Bulletproof Actor Infinite. No, what was it called? I don't think what the actual modules were called, because there was 5 modules in it. But ultimately, it was a science-backed program. It took 5 weeks to take people through. All around confidence and ultimately breaking down limiting beliefs and limiting life stories that people live by, created by past bad experiences, ultimately they never truly get over, that just limit them later in life. But I'm going to throw a big event in September. It's going to be a weekend. It's probably going to be virtual. It's probably going to be on Zoom. It's not just going to be with me. I'm going to bring in some real top names within this field as well, and so also some pretty well-known actors as well, who I just know specialize in this and have implemented it in their own life in order to have the success that they've had. Let me know if you'd be up for that. Yeah, and it was called Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. That was the program that I threw out there. It's going to be basically a weekend based on that. But let me know if you'd be up for that, if you're here in the chat. If you're not watching live, tweet at Act on This TV. I would just love to know. Just go, yeah, I'd be well up for that weekend. Just so I can gauge how many people want to level up, basically, and we'll just figure something out. But I just love it. Absolutely love it. It's massive. So, yeah, walk into an audition, basically, guys, with that peppering of arrogance that Kate talks about. I think it's a real interesting take on it, because most people would label arrogance as a bad thing, but I don't think in every way that it is. It's not you being belligerent or obtuse or anything. It's you actually walking in, believing in your own ability, and believing that you actually deserve to be there, and that you're competent and you have trained and you ultimately have honed your craft to a point where you're like, yeah, bring it on. I can stand opposite these big names and hold my own. And it's a lovely feeling when you get to do that. Even when you're only, I've had quite a lot of roles where they've only been small, but they've been with the big actor within the show. And it's just so nice. Like, it's a bit daunting the first time you do it, but you walk off set going, oh my God, actually, you know what? Yeah, I did just hold my own opposite such and such a body. And then the next time you go on a set, you're not as daunted. And then suddenly, when after a while, you get as much experience. You walk onto a set and you don't even necessarily see that the person, or it doesn't faze you that this person is so well known. It just, it's exciting. We're like, oh, I get to work with such and such a body today, and you don't feel like you're less than, or there's a hierarchy. You're like, yeah, you know what, I bring just as much of this as they do. So it's nice, but it all starts with confidence. So the next feature I just want to recap on, like I say, we've not been live here for a couple of weeks, is going to be this one here. So you can go see the preview at actonthis.tv. If you remember, the full 2-hour podcast with Leon Lopez is in your members area right now. You can watch the video of it, or you can listen to the audio version only if you want to just pop your earphones in. That's another thing that does my head in. I see people on Twitter, and they're like, oh, I'd love to join Acts on This, but I just won't be able to make it live, or I just don't have time. No, you're not. You don't have the drive to want to actually improve your career as much as you think you do. If you just put earphones in for 90 minutes across a week, like 15 minutes a day. I listen to podcasts all day, every day. I don't listen to them all at once. There might be a 2-hour podcast I'm listening to, and I split it up over 4 days, 30 minutes a day. If you can find or make 90 minutes while you're walking the dog or in the gym or whatever, that's all you need to keep on top of every single feature that's on this. There is an archive of hundreds of hours, but if you want to keep up on the latest stuff, rather than joining live each week because you might be working or, you might have other acting classes or whatever, don't worry about turning up live. Some of the stuff, like I say, this podcast with Leon was pre-recorded, but even the lives, they all get recorded and then it gets put in the members area the next day. Pop some earphones in for 90 minutes a week. If you can't find £6 and 90 minutes a week to hear from the biggest names in the industry, again, I think you're making a big mistake. And I guarantee, because I've been guilty of this in the past myself, you're spending money on shit you don't need. You're buying a £5 cup of coffee. You're buying a £10 Subway sandwich, a cookie and a drink. You're then just, not making time for the things that ironically would move the needle so much in your career that they would help you earn the money that you then have to spend on whatever you want. It's like one TV job could pay you £1,000, for one line, basically, in a serial drama. But people are like, oh no, I'll get involved in that when I've got the money. It's like, you're never going to have the money until you get involved in something that's going to actually help you grow and earn more money. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck where you are ultimately for the rest of your life. So this is a little mashup of Leon's chat. The full chat, like I say, is in the members area. And then I pulled another piece out that I want to just expand on a little bit, because I thought the way Leon articulated himself around this particular point was really good. So here's just 2 minutes of the whole thing. And then I'll be back in a minute and we'll expand a little bit. But let me know if you've seen this, what your biggest takeaway was as well. Leon Lopez, welcome to my kitchen. There's so much we want to talk to you about. Obviously, as an actor, director, a writer, a producer, a singer. This is the first time, Petch, I've had a list of notes for a chat. I can't remember the last time. I'm a massive advocate of actors like living in an and world, not an or world.
In my mind, I thought, it's easy to become an actor because I'd always been doing it. So in my mind, it was like, I've become an actor and I'm successful, then I can become a singer. In my mind, it was harder to become a singer than it was to be an actor. I remember like early days of Brookside questioning, I was always, what does this mean and why are you using that and why is the boom pointed there and what does that, and there's a line and what does crossing the line mean and all of that. So because I was genuinely interested, but all of those things kind of worked to give me a foundation, I never ever thought I'm going to be a director. I love this. I feel creative. I'm getting just as much of a buzz out of it, but I'm not in my own head and I'm not like self-destructive.
Well, for those people who are like, you know what, I do want to branch out and I want to create my first short, what kind of like would be your advice to push you over the line to do that?
It's not that it don't sound easy, but it is easy if you put the efforts in. You have to, it's easy, but you have to work. You have to work hard. It's like,
where would someone start?
Picking up a camera first of all, and that camera can just be your phone.
I've got 24 eps of Hollyoaks so far on IMDb, 20 eps of Emmerdale, 2 eps of Death in Paradise, 10 eps of Corrie. I'm sure there's plenty more on the way. How do you convince them to give you a crack?
I was in with Channel 4 and they were like, look, you need to get more experience. You need to, if you want to produce something, you need to be with a production house, or you need to build up your CV like within TV.
If you were an actor wanting to get on your radar to potentially work with you down the line, how would you go about it?
That's one good thing. Just don't be a dick. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this publicly. Oh my God.
The 2-hour podcast is in the members area right now. That's on this. Let me know if you're here live, if you watched it. It was a hilarious chat, but also super inspirational, motivational. It was no nonsense as well in terms of Leon's approach to the industry. He's never allowed like a label to kind of put him in a box, so to speak. So, and you heard me say in the trailer there, like, I really believe in like an and world that we live in. Not an all, an all world. It's not like, I can either be an actor or a director. No, you know what? You can be an actor and a director. You can be an actor and a business owner that has nothing to do with the acting industry. You can be an actor and a writer. You can be an actor and an athlete, whatever you want. I don't feel you have to be one or the other. And I think a lot of actors feel if they're not pure acting, they're cheating on their acting career somehow or something like that. And I'm like, no, anything that is making you a better person, making you have more experience of the world around you, helping you enrich relationships, is making you a better actor. Any emotional experiences you can have, good or bad, are making you emotionally richer. You are unlocking, feelings within you that you would never have access to otherwise. If you just focus on acting, I think it makes you dull. Man, I think you've got to have other interests in your life. So Leon's certainly done that, over the years. He's gone, acting, singing. He still sings to this day. He just creates vlogging, short films, web series. He started directing TV now. I'm sure he'll go on to, direct bigger and bigger stuff. And he's just a hustler. So again, let me know in the chat if you saw that, podcast already. It's been in the members area a couple of weeks. Let me know what your biggest takeaway is. And I'm just going to play out, I'll read some comments in a sec, but I'm just going to play out, again, just one other clip that just expands on something that he said there. You heard me ask him in that trailer, like, where would someone start if they wanted to create their first short, their first piece of, I don't know, like film, their first sitcom, whatever it is, just the first episode of anything, a web series, something like that, where would they start, And he said, look, I don't want to make it sound easy, but it is easy. Like, you've just got to start and pick up a camera. And again, I hear people, I keep mentioning Twitter today just because I think it's got particularly, I don't know, recently with the whole sort of just negativity around the world. I think Twitter's got a bit more negative in the last month or so. It's been like that, obviously on and off for a while, but I think in our industry, sometimes it can be an echo chamber when you follow lots of actors and acting related people. I don't know, I feel there's a bit of a downer. Just on the world right now, across the board. But I'm seeing actors complain about the position that they're in without sounding brutal, like they're not doing anything about it. They're complaining about how they wish it was, as opposed to playing with what it is and making it better. And you hear this all the time, like actors complaining about no work, no auditions, da-da-da-da-da. And I don't think they realise how powerful they actually are and can be in terms of actually, making their own work, making, sure that other people see them, making sure that they are relevant, that, people are aware of them. I think a lot of people feel that they have to be discovered, and it's like no one's coming to save you. I mean it with love, but there ain't anybody knocking on your door and going, oh, hi, Dave, yeah, really like you to be in this show. That is just not happening unless you make sure that people know you exist, or you create your own work to stay creative. You're going to be unhappy. So this is just something that Leon said about complaining. I think you can tell a lot about somebody within 30 minutes of meeting them by having a chat with them and just count how many times they complain about something, as opposed to talking about how they can actually make something better. Stay away from the complainers. They will sap your energy. But this is a little 2-minute clip on Leon from Leon on creating your own content. Let me know in the chat if you are thinking about it, and you're going to do that this year.
For those people who are like, I do want to branch out and I want to create my first short. What kind of like would be your advice to push you over the line to do that?
It's not sound easy, but it is easy if you put the efforts in. You have to. It's easy, but you have to work. You have to work hard. It's like,
where would someone start?
Picking up a camera first of all, and that camera can just be your phone. I mean, there's all kinds of film festivals now where it could be a festival that is just stuff shot on a phone, so there's no excuse. The best thing I ever did was discover YouTube, because YouTube, I just used to sit in front of YouTube for hours and hours learning everything. So I'd learn about grading. I remember learning about editing, just like pick up anything, iMovie. Early on I was doing stuff on iMovie. All of my like video blogs and stuff were done on iMovie. You can see with all the transitions and titles. So like, just learn. And also, so you've got to, again, it's the same thing, you've got to want to do it. So it's fine saying all of this stuff, but then if you don't want to do it, and by not putting in the effort to teach yourself how to do those things means you don't want to do it. If the thought of you getting up and like going on YouTube and watching like a 20-minute video of how to kind of cut and paste, or how to do the bleach pipe bypass look, or 3-point lighting, any of that makes you feel like, I can't be bothered with that, then you don't want to do it. So stop moaning about not doing it.
Sometimes actors, will say, oh, but I'm lazy. And I'm like, well, actually, I don't think you're framing that right. If you're not enthused to do it, it doesn't necessarily make you lazy. It just means that you're not passionate about that. So you shouldn't explore that part.
You don't want to do it.
That's totally fine. Maybe you bring someone else on board,
or find
to do
somebody
that
else. There's loads of people who are wanting to do it out there. So just go on your mandy.com or your whatever the Star now, or whatever they're all called these days,
yeah,
and apply and be in all these short films for other people. But it's like, don't moan, say you want to do stuff, but you're not willing to put the work in, because everyone sits there and goes, oh, you've done so well and you've done all of that. It's like, I was a hermit for years, and I still am now, really, and I still watch. If you open my YouTube now and you look at it, all the videos are about like a different editing styles or lighting styles or different things. I'm always, even though mostly I'm behind a monitor now, but generally it's like I want to keep up with what's going on. Whatever you want to be, if you should always have a little bit of an understanding of the person doing the other job.
Boom! Once again, ads-on-this.tv if you want to get access to the full 2-hour chat. But yeah, I stand by that. I think a lot of actors, like, talk the talk. I want to do this, I want to do that, and actually they just don't. They don't want to do it because they're not prepared to put the effort in. And it doesn't mean you're lazy. If you're like, oh, you know what, I'm like, you might be calling yourself lazy, whatever. It just means maybe you've chosen something that you don't really want to do. Ultimately, you like the idea of all of the spoils of being an actor and getting well paid and being on TV, but actually you don't want to put the work in. So it's a really interesting chat. Leon obviously has put the work in and is now, benefiting from from all of that hustle that he's put in over the years. But it doesn't stop. It doesn't mean that once he's where he is, that then the work's going to come to him. He still talks in that chat about hustling on the daily, and there's some just really, really useful advice in there. So do check that out. He's a top bloke. Make sure you're following him on Twitter as well, at Leon Lopez. Tell him you saw that, you saw that chat. It's getting quite a lot of attention online right now. I know you'll enjoy it. So I'm going to recap on one more feature in a minute. I'm just going to read some comments. Brenda says, I think Kate, so going back to Kate's thing around a peppering of arrogance, Kate means competence and confidence. We're referring to a little arrogance. Yeah, definitely. It's just like confidence is critical. I honestly believe confidence is the key to success in everything. And it's not fake. I think it's not, you don't have to fake it till you make it. You don't have to pretend you're confident. There really is a formula, a scientific, positive psychology formula around confidence, manufacturing authentic confidence. And it all comes down initially to courage. I say this all the time, you've got to have that 5 seconds of courage to actually start something. But by like Leon says there, jumping on YouTube, watching a 20-minute tutorial, it's going to give you competence in something once you commit to it. So you have the courage to start, you commit to something, maybe you go, right, what, I want to really take my acting career seriously. You commit to joining us on these webinars, joining us on these Zoom calls, listening to all this stuff, finding that 90 minutes a week, because that's all it is. Stop making bullshit excuses, and you commit to something. You will get competence through that commitment, and that competence leads to capability, and it's the capability that makes us confident when we go into a situation. So you can really manufacture authentic confidence. I think fake it till you make it is the worst advice you'll ever be given, basically, because your nervous system still knows you're faking it. You can manufacture confidence properly. Again, it's something that I'm going to probably end up talking about on that weekend mindset program that we'll put out in September. Lots of people are saying yes, they'd be up for that weekend, so that's great to know. Georgie says, I've been binging all the acts on this stuff all day, every day since I joined 2 months ago and still haven't caught up. Yeah, I mean, there's literally hundreds of hours in the members area, and I get that. There's an awful lot there, but, just treat it like Netflix. I look at acts on this as like the Netflix for actors. You basically just go, right, I'll go over to the site now if you're watching the video. I would just click into the members area. Let me just log in. On a night time, when you watch Netflix, like sometimes you might treat yourself to like one episode or something before you go to bed. You get into bed at like 10 and you think, oh, okay, I'll go to sleep at like 11, half 11. Just, rather than actually watching Netflix, why don't you go and watch something that's going to help you get on Netflix, and then eventually you can watch yourself on these shows. I would just go in. There's the latest 5 features there that we, that I have, and I update that obviously every time a new feature comes out every week. So you could just choose one of those, or they're just in sections. So we've got roundtable features there, which are with like people from different disciplines in the industry, like multiple guests on one talk. But then there's a feature there with actors. There's a section featured with actors. There's a section with agents. There's a section with casting directors. You might just want to scroll down and go, oh, you know what? I've not dropped a line to Peter at Hollyoaks, for a little while. Right, I'm going to just click on that, and I'm going to watch this before I go to bed. And, rather than watching an episode of Hollyoaks, which people might do, watch something that's, like I say, going to help you actually get on it, because you're going to be infinitely happier and wealthier in every respect, not just money, but just in terms of your own well-being, when you're in shows as opposed to watching them. and people always find time to binge the latest series or something, or go to the cinema to watch Top Gun, but they don't find that time to put into their own careers. And ironically, down the line, it would give them even more time because they could quit the day job. When they're earning enough money, they go, right, I'm out of this 40-hour-a-week shit job that I hate. But you're never going to get out of that until you actually level up and prioritize, where your focus is. I feel like I'm going on a little bit of a rant tonight. I feel a bit salty, but it frustrates me to see on Twitter frustrated actors when I know those people in our community who are taking action are landing the agents they want to land and are getting auditions for the shows they want to audition for all the time. And I'm talking big freaking shows as well that I've helped actors in our community self-tape for this week. Big Netflix shows, massive dramas that I know when they come out are going to get so much noise, and people are, I would have done anything to be in that. Well, you had an opportunity, because I've just had the casting director on for a lot of these, and you could have just basically dropped them an email after watching that session and maybe got yourself an opportunity. Kate says, I am her dog walking companion. Kate, that's what I'm talking about. Put the earphones in, listen whilst you're walking the dog. It literally will take you no extra time to take in these features whilst you're actually doing something else. Emma says she shared with Actor Pals. Thank you, Emma. Appreciate that. Matt says, I've heard Spotlight have changed their qualifying criteria. They have, Matt. They've halved it, mate. You need 2 qualifying credits now, not 4. I think, to be honest, I genuinely think it's a business decision. I can see why they would do that. Spotlight was bought out recently by an American company, and I think they just need more cash flow. I'm just being completely honest. I don't know that for sure. But looking at the way the world has gone now, in terms of, cost of living crisis and all this sort of stuff, I think, businesses have been hit hard, and I think they've gone, actually, how can we get more cash flow? Well, let's just halve the joining criteria and just let a load more people in. But don't worry about it. The cream will still rise to the top. It just means just people are on Spotlight doesn't mean that they're competition for you as an actor. Having a Spotlight profile and taking no action on getting that profile in front of people, having no showreel on there, no decent headshots on there, is still not going to do anything to your career. Because I heard a lot of actors talk about that. Oh, now they're going to let more actors on. Oh, even more competition. No, you've hardly got any competition, because most actors I know do not take enough action to get anywhere. Like, there's probably, out of everybody who's on Spotlight, 10% of the people on Spotlight are doing enough to actually get seen, basically. So don't worry about more people coming into the industry. Just make sure you are good. As long as you are good and you know what you're doing, because most people don't. They go, that's it, I'm on Spotlight now, I just don't need to do anything. That's nonsense. Don't worry about how many people are on it. It is fine. Let's have a look. Geordie says, have you watched with Des Hamilton or the Babu Cisse ones yet? What's that one, Alex? What are you talking about, Alex? You were mentioning there. Because, those sessions that are in the members area with Babu Cisse and Des Hamilton, the casting director, freaking hell. On Mindset, absolutely brilliant. 2 of the best features I think I've ever recorded. Geordie says, loving salty Ross. Yeah, I've got a bit salty tonight. I don't know. I want to suffocate people's excuses. I don't tolerate whining. I'm like, look, I think it's just the way I was brought up. I'm like, look, if you've got a problem, my dad always said, my dad was pretty ruthless when it came to, even if I was ill as a kid. Oh, Dad, I don't feel very well. He'd literally be like, he was Scottish, so he'd be like, right, well, you either go to the doctors or you go to bed. And I'm like, okay. So basically, I've got 2 choices. I basically do something about it or I don't. And it was always like, do something about it then, if I'm feeling very well. And I'm just like that with acting. If you're not where you want to be in your career, you have so much power to do something about it. But most people don't want it enough because they're not prepared to get out of their comfort zone and just take 1 5-second, bit of courage to actually, send an email, shoot something new, team up with someone to shoot something, watch some of the features on here. I don't know. They like I said, they're not lazy. They just don't want it enough. It was obvious actually talking to Lee Boardman on the call this week. I'm going to play a little clip of it out in a minute. How much that guy has wanted it from the start. Literally from being at school as a teenager, he went, I did a school play and I knew this is what I was going to do. And he is so dedicated. I thought I was dedicated, but I felt like an amateur when I was talking to Lee. He's so freaking dedicated. He'll be on a massive job shooting a film with Liam Neeson, and he'll still carry his self-tape kit around with him, and he'll do a self-tape in his hotel room on his own in between scenes. He's just a machine. And that's what you've got to be if you want to really, really work at the highest level. Definitely. Right, I'll take a couple more comments. Let's see what else is going on. What's Sharon saying? Mandy's changed their payment per profile thing too. If you have an actor profile and a voiceover profile, then one subscription covers both. That's quite good then, Sharon. That's decent. That's how it used to work. And then they changed it up. But yeah, that's pretty good then. Ollie here, what have I missed? Oh, you missed loads, Ol, but you can watch it on the replay, mate. We're just going to recap now, though, on Lee Boardman's session. This is just a 2-minute clip of a 90-minute session with Lee. Again, I mean, just like find 90 minutes in your schedule to watch this. If you're an actor and you want to actually act more, you want to land auditions and actually have roles on TV, take all of these features in. But here's 2 minutes of what you missed with Lee this week. Brilliant session. One of the most talented actors that I know, and a guy with a massive heart as well. Star of over 70 TV shows, including Bancroft, The Larkins, and Outlander. You can currently see him opposite Liam Neeson in Martin Campbell's Assassin for Hire thriller Memory. It's Lee Boardman in the house. Lee, welcome back. How are you? Who is Lee Boardman?
Well, I was brought up in Stockport, and I couldn't have been further from the business. I knew from having done a school play when I was like 14, I knew literally at that moment, I'm going to be an actor.
This is your latest project, Memory.
He's interfering with an international investigation.
You said he wasn't going to be a problem.
I've done crazy things.
Yes.
Why don't you and I just have a talk? I know you're not well. No time for that.
Give us your two biggest takeaways. One working with the director, one working with Liam.
I think with Liam, it was about economy of performance on camera.
If you were an actor starting again, you know, what would you be doing to get that initial break?
Get your headshots done, decent headshots, get a great little show reel together, and it doesn't have to be, as I say, it doesn't have to be scenes from anything.
Yep.
You can it's about you pure performance and approach people nicely.
Signing with and working with agents. Give us your top sort of like 2-3 lessons around this. Take us through your process then, prepping and nailing your auditions.
Now I'm getting scripts that are a bit longer, and I just want to be able to get quicker, if that makes sense.
I think it's just literally going over and over and over it. I think it always comes down to, at the end of the day, there's just no substitute for just hard work and graft. You've got to be somebody that people want to work with, because the business is small. The business is small, and people find out about people who are not easy to work with. So be your own shop front all the time.
Again, full 90-minute session in the members area right now. Go and catch up on it this week. You can listen to the audio. You don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to sit down and watch a video. Again, just for those people to suffocate your excuses if I go over to the members area. Those people who are like, oh, I don't have time. Make time. Basically, click into this section here. Sorry for those people on the audio experience, you can't see it, but the video of the replay is there, and directly underneath it is the audio. Click play on your phone, lock your phone off, put it in your pocket, go walk the dog, go to the gym, do whatever you want, wash the pots, do the ironing. Take these features in. They will change the game for you if you act on them. That's the whole point of this website. Act on this. The whole point of our community. We don't watch or listen to something and then just go and have a beer. You can do that if you want. Maybe while you're listening, but after that, at least after that, you've got to take some action, and you will, you will get results. But just another awesome session. I'm not going to play it out because I just think the value, go and watch the whole thing. But there's a section within that chat with Lee where he talks about his exact process of doing self-tapes, and it is genius. I'd never thought of it before, but it makes a lot of sense, and Lee lands so many jobs off the back of self-tapes. And obviously you've seen him there working with Liam Neeson. Massive shows that he does. He's got a huge show coming out on Netflix and a massive cinema release. It's not even that film. He's NDA'd up, so he couldn't say it publicly, but he's got a big film as well coming out in the cinema that I saw the trailer of in the cinema yesterday. I went to watch Top Gun. It's a fantastic film, by the way. Go watch Top Gun. once you've watched the acts on this stuff, don't go and watch Top Gun if you've not, because, you know, one day you want to be in Top Gun, not just watch it. But it is, once you've done your work, go and watch Top Gun. It is a cracking, Maverick is a cracking film. Very nostalgic. I loved it. Right, let's have a look. What else is going down in the chat? Ollie said, how was Gary V? Oh, amazing, mate. So whilst I was away last week, again, I'll do a separate session on this, but while I was away last week, I was in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, for a Web3 conference, the next iteration of the internet, basically, the blockchain. You will have heard of cryptocurrency that works on a blockchain, but it's not just cryptocurrency. Blockchain technology ultimately is going to change the way that we transact in the world, how we trade things, buy, sell. And it will really, really impact and affect our industry as actors. I'll go into it in depth at some other point, but ultimately, what the blockchain is going to allow you to do as a creator, and this is really, really fascinating. We were talking to Snoop Dogg and Pharrell, Seth Green, you know, massive, massive names. About how they're implementing this in film and music and stuff. But ultimately, you will be able to buy on the blockchain, and you'll be able to help fund projects. A bit like crowdfunding in a way. You'll be able to buy what are called NFTs. And you will have heard good and bad things about NFTs right now. It stands for non-fungible tokens. The Web3 space is full of brilliant NFT projects, but a whole lot of shitty scams as well. You've really got to be careful if you're getting into the NFT space right now. A lot of the projects that are out right now will have no intrinsic value 6 months down the line, and people are trading these things for thousands of pounds. There are certain projects, Gary's being one of them, that absolutely will be a blue chip project that will, you know, rise to the top over the next few years. It'll probably be a top 5 project of all time. But what you will find down the line is that people will start funding their films, their music, whatever, their projects, their TV stuff, via allowing their audience, their potential audience, you, me, whoever, to buy an NFT. So a little bit like basically funding somebody on crowdfunder, you know, on Kickstarter or something like that. But rather than you just getting a signed script or a day on set, or you'll get your name in the credits, all this stuff that people do for like 200 quid if you donate to their film or whatever, you will get an NFT which is based on the blockchain, okay? Now, the great thing about the blockchain is you can bake into a transaction something called a smart contract. So I could say to you, right, I'm looking for 100 backers of my film to all give me £100. So we create, you know, a film for £10,000, and each one of you guys is going to get an NFT, which is just a piece of artwork basically, or a token. You know, I can make it look however I want on the blockchain to your wallet. You'll have a digital wallet where you will keep that asset. Now, because there's only 100 in existence, let's say, for instance, I don't know, the NFT is a design of a poster for our film, but it's been designed by an up-and-coming artist, okay? So, one, that'll look cool. So, you know, you get an NFT to display however you want. But two, let's just say in 5 years' time, that artist goes on to blow up and he's massive. He's the next, or he or she is the next Banksy, right? Well, you've got a one of 100 original piece of artwork there, digital artwork from that artist. That in itself holds an intrinsic value. So you'll be able to sell that down the line, probably for a lot more than you paid for it, that 100 quid, okay? On top of that, into the contracts, I might bake something into it that says, you know what, these 100 backers all get, you know, between them 5% of the box office earnings. Anyone who holds that tokens gets 5% of the box office earnings. It's on the blockchain. It's in a smart contract. You know, it's completely transparent. There's no revoking it. You can't take it back. Like it's a real sort of like decentralized transaction. No one's in charge of it. You know, I can't go back on my word or whatever. And then you will be paid royalties, you know, via the blockchain into your crypto wallet or whatever, because you helped me fund that film. Lots of other things, you know, in the music industry, rather than just buying, you know, the song, you will actually own that song and you'll be able to sell it on. You know, you will be able, again, there'll be lots of really sort of clever ways that they do this. It might end up being a ticket to the concert. So then you bought the song for 5 quid or whatever. Down the line, you go, anyone who holds this NFT gets a meet and greet at the concert or whatever. These things can have so many things baked into the smart contracts and also added to the smart contracts as we go along. It's going to make our space incredibly like exciting, basically. The access that the audience will get with the creators, it will be unprecedented. It's a fascinating space. I'll go into it in more depth when we sort of have time. I might do a separate, you know, session on it, or bring someone in to speak a little bit more about it on Zoom. I want to get Seth Green to do a Zoom with us. He was relatively open to doing stuff like that. He's got an NFT slash web project that he's already filmed. This is the only problem, right? So there was a huge NFT project called the Bored Ape Yacht Club. This is probably one of the most successful, probably the most successful NFT projects on Earth. To have a token of a Bored Ape Yacht Club token now would probably cost you $150,000. When they first minted them, when they first came out, they were like $200. It's blown up, it's massive. But the good thing about that project is when you buy one of these little apes, these cartoon apes, you get complete ownership of the IP, of the intellectual property of that ape. So I could print it onto t-shirts and sell those t-shirts. I could put it in a film and have complete, rights to it. Seth bought an ape for hundreds of thousands of dollars, made a show, a bit like Roger Rabbit, where the ape was in a live action, setting with people. And unfortunately, had his wallet hacked and that ape is now gone. So he no longer has the intellectual property to it after making this show. So he's in a real predicament with the FBI trying to get this token back or tracking down who's got it, because the blockchain space is completely decentralized, as in no one owns it. There's no customer service number. You've got to be really careful operating in this space right now. God knows what's going to happen, with his projects. But it's very, very, very early days. But I'd love to get Seth on to talk a little bit about that. But yeah, Ollie, thanks for the question, man. But it's going to change the way. It's just going to change our space forever. It really will. It's so early though, and people will kick back against this, like they did about the internet when it came out, like they did about everything, like they did about when songs started going digital. And no. I want the physical CD. Who would buy a song and put it on a iPod? iPods are rubbish. Now we walk around with the back catalogue of every song in the world on our phone on Spotify. No one wants to hold a CD. No one's asked, but we always fight against change. But those people who embrace this in the early days, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity within our lives, where if you are early to this space, you can do incredible things and probably become very, very wealthy in the process as well. So I will keep people posted. Ollie said I'd love to jump in on a blockchain NFT chat. Make sure, there's a lot of stuff goes on Twitter. Twitter Spaces, they hold these like audio spaces. I'm going to start doing them for acting, for our community, where we'll just jump on and we can all chat. A bit like Clubhouse, but on Twitter. There's a lot of NFT spaces you'll find there, Ollie. Just jump into one, and just while you're doing some work, mate, just, it goes for everybody. Just listen to some of the stuff going down. Just start getting used to the terminology. It's absolutely fascinating, but don't part with any money until you've done 100 hours research, because there's a lot of, I myself, I've invested in projects that are probably, NFTs I've bought that are probably £20,000 less now than I paid for them. Like, I'm holding for the foreseeable future, but you can you can lose a lot of money very, very quickly. Don't put money in you are not prepared to lose. That's just the same across the board. But if you're putting money into reputable projects that you've done a lot of research on, you should be all right. The whole economy right now across the world is smashed. It's not just the NFT and the crypto market. Just look around. With a lot of uncertainty in the world, a lot of people are frightened right now. But that makes it a good time to buy stuff, because stuff is on sale right now. Definitely. Sharon still loves owning the physical copy, though. I've got no space for it, Sharon. I'd love to. I need a bigger house. I've got a 2-bedroom apartment. I can't have a wall of CDs. Surely at some point, I'm not the only one who's put all of their CDs in boxes and gone, I'm just going to get these to Music Magpie or something and get 20p for them. Because you've gone, how much space does a CD collection take? How much time does it take to take it out the box, put it in the CD player? I don't even have one anymore. My computer doesn't even come with a CD drive on it anymore. It's mad. I've got rid of all my stuff, Sharon. And it was a shame, though, because DVDs I spent like 15 quid back, in the day on. I was getting like 30p for. I'm like, brilliant. Just might as well just throw it away. Emma says, then there's the Metaverse. Yeah, the Metaverse again, that all kind of links in with NFTs and the blockchain. It's still far away, the Metaverse. I don't think anybody's going to be living in the Metaverse. No one here is going to be putting a Facebook Oculus, headset on and living in virtual reality for 10 hours a day. But down the line, we might be doing that for a couple of hours a day, You'll be able to come and actually sit in on an act on this session as if you're there in person, but we'll do it in the Metaverse on Oculus or something. Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, it's going to change. It's going to change the world, definitely. How do you feel about DVDs though? I'm a digital mate now. I'm completely. I was sad to sell them because I'm like, I put so much effort into getting all these. But I love the simplicity of just scrolling through Netflix or Amazon Prime or having digital files. Even when I had DVDs, you know what? I ripped them all and put them on my computer so I could then sell them and still have the film. I was like, I'm just gonna, I just want things digital. It's just so much cleaner. You can't spill things on them. You can't scratch them. It's a great thing about NFTs. When you're buying digital artwork, that ain't getting damaged because you've elbowed it when it was on the wall or whatever. I've got canvases on my wall and like they're delicate. If I fell into it or something like that, go, oh, there you go. That's a few $100 just smashed. You can't do that with NFTs because they're digital. You can still display them on digital screens and stuff. It still looks like artwork, but you don't have the worry of trashing it if you I don't know, get knocked and you splash red wine on it or something like that. So I like the digital world myself. That's why everything that's on this is digital. But I do want, actually, you know what? After going to Minneapolis and seeing some of the really cool merchandise that people are putting out with these NFTs designs on, I think we or do we not need some acts on this merch? We need some, don't we? We need some hoodies. We need stuff like that. We need some mugs, maybe. We need some cool stuff. We just acts on this and maybe some cool quotes on, just some funny things. Maybe a T-shirt, and on the back it can say "Bye for now." I don't know. As you're walking out your audition, it can have "Bye for now" on the back. I think we need some merch, though. Definitely, just need to get back on that. I've looked at ways of doing that over the years, but I just need a hands-off approach, basically, where it's almost sort of like can get ordered, and I don't have to touch it. I don't even have to like pass any orders on. I just need a centralized place. I'm not bothered about profiting from it. I just need it so that you guys can order it and I don't touch it. It just gets delivered. I can design it, but once it's designed, that's it. It's done. But yeah, I think merch would be good. Nick says we need AOT merch. Yes to merch, says Georgie. Absolutely need merch, says Sharon. I love it. We're going to get some merch then, definitely. Dale, how you doing, mate? He says, I can understand the nostalgia element being taken away from physical objects, though. It's the same with football tickets going digital. Yeah. No more vintage age tickets to show the grandkids, but times move on. Well, I mean, going to Top Gun yesterday. I mean, again, I love it. I get the Odeon app on my phone, buy my ticket, and I just get a QR code, just scan it on the way in. My phone's, it's so clever, that app, the Odeon app. When you get there, if you've pre-ordered like popcorn, you get there, it obviously knows your location on your phone. So literally, as I'm walking towards the cinema, it says, oh, you're at the Odeon. Do you want us to get your order ready? Click yes. And as I'm going up the escalator, they're preparing the popcorn and my drink. So when I get there, it's like 629. There's my popcorn already. I show my QR code, no friction, and I'm in my seat. Like, without having to tear tickets, lose a ticket. Oh, God, I've thrown the ticket away. I'm down for... I'm so down for just keeping everything digital. And maybe act on this, yeah. Emma, maybe we'll have an NFT at some point. I mean, that's... Do you know what? I should... If I'm going to lead this in our industry, like... If I'm going to be first to market, I should do it. But it means teaching all you guys how to create something called a MetaMask wallet, how you will buy Ethereum and how you will then mint that NFT. So I would need to do a step-by-step walkthrough. I mean, people sometimes struggle to even log in to act on this. So I don't know. But I could do a tutorial for people because I feel that that's doing you guys a public service as well, because it's not only... an act on this NFT that you'd be minting at some point. You'll all be in on it at some point. We'll obviously have easier ways to get people in than it is now. There'll be more, user-friendly ways of doing it. But I just think if people explore the NFT space right now, you'll be more ready and you'll be more prepared when this stuff starts impacting our industry, which won't be too long. We're talking, years as opposed to decades and stuff. It's very, very early now, but it's on its way, guys, and it will change forever. Right, it's 2 minutes past 10. I'm going to love you and leave you. Tomorrow. God, it's happening tomorrow. Members of actsonthis.tv, it is our second quarter of the years, so we do this every quarter, Showreel Surgery tomorrow. I'm bringing you, once again, the UK's, in my opinion, number one showreel producer, Mr. Chris Stone. Tomorrow night, that's the 31st of May, 7:30pm. You members are going to get your Zoom links tomorrow. Jump on Zoom. Me and Chris are going to be going through, he's a showreel doctor, isn't he? So we're going to be going through 5 Act on This members showreels. We're going to be playing them out. You guys are going to get to watch them. Chris is going to diagnose them. He's going to dissect them. He's going to work on them. He's going to basically just give all his best advice out to help those people whose show reels we show, make edits on their reel so it has the biggest impact it can have on the casting directors and agents that they're sending it to. If your reel doesn't get chosen, doesn't matter. You're going to learn an absolute ton. And once again, we're going to walk you through an 8-step process. It's just going to guarantee your reel stands out 100% above the rest. Honestly, without sounding horrible, I'm still seeing shit out there. I'm seeing absolute dog shit from actors who are actually really good. They just have no idea. Not in our community, by the way. You guys know how to edit a reel now, hopefully, if you've taken part in a show reel surgery or you've watched one in the members area. But I am seeing bad reels from actors that I know who are good. And I'm like, and they're just really letting themselves down. And again, it's because they don't really want it. I'm not technical. Well, you better get a little bit technical. To edit a reel, a simple cut is so easy. But I see people with footage that's all squished down, massive black borders, terrible sound. Even from stuff that's been on TV, they've somehow trashed it on the way of getting it off TV and getting it on a digital show reel. Actors just, not following basic principles that we bang on about all the time. Hopefully you guys who are watching or listening, I'm not talking about you, but I do just see bad stuff, if I'm honest with you. And I'm like, you know what? I know that actors so much better than their reel is making them out to be. And that's why they've sent... Well, actually, those people who've got bad reels don't even generally send them out because they know they're bad. But we're going to talk you through it, walk you through it all tomorrow. There is in the Facebook group, if you're in the Facebook group for Acts on This, it's facebook.com/groups/Acts on This TV. You will find a submission form, a Google form, towards the top of that group. I posted it yesterday. If you want your reel to be in the mix, we choose them randomly. We normally get a couple of hundred entries as well. I know there's only 5 we choose, so not incredible odds, but, if you want your reel in the mix at all, go and fill that form, and it's got to be on YouTube or Vimeo because that's where we download it from, and we might be talking about your reel tomorrow night. But even if we're not, like I say, it doesn't matter. You're going to learn so much. And again, those people who walk away and act on that advice and make those edits the next day or within the week, they get the biggest results. So let's do this. I'm pumped. Right, going to just read a couple of comments and then we will call it a day. Nat's looking for someone to split a Chris Stone show reel with, so please see my post in the Facebook group as well. Yeah, absolutely. Nat, hopefully people will apply for that. But Nat, one piece of advice, please do not just choose somebody because they're prepared to split the cost with you. Be the casting director. If they're not good, if they won't show you their work, if you've not been blown away by their current show reel, don't choose someone who's in your casting bracket either. Make sure Chris is writing you a scene opposite someone who is not you, either a different gender, a different age, totally different casting bracket. But please, a bad show reel partner will ruin your show reel and waste the money you were trying to save by getting someone to split it with you. So I see people do this. They're like, oh, this person will split the money with me. I'll go with you. And actually, they've not looked at their work. They're a brand new actor. They're just not as good as they need to be yet. And then you waste your money. So please, be astute when you are picking your show reel partner. You're not going to offend anybody if you're like, thanks, but I found somebody now. It's your reel. Be selfish for now, You can be selfless down the line when you're in a position to do that. Thank you, Sharon. Says, enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm off to sort out some film budgets. She says, if anyone has any free info, what preset spreadsheets, then I'd love you to send them my way. Oh, for budgeting, I've never done it, Sharon. But if anyone has, get in touch with the Spinkster, Sharon Spink, in the Facebook group again. Right, love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. What should I end on? I will end by playing out. I'm going to play out the Leon Lopez clip again and creating your own content for those people who missed it, because I think it's just important. Again, if you're not where you want to be, you can do something about it. You really, really, really can, regardless of what the media is feeding you right now about how bad the economy is and how this and that and the other, and how everyone's just like living through this lens of scarcity. There's such abundance out there if you look for it, guys, but like the media will try and control the narrative that goes on between your ears, and disempower you. There's so much opportunity within our industry right now for those people who actually want to put the effort in and go out there and actually do something with their lives and careers. So don't complain. Get up and let's get shit done. Go get them this week. Love you all. Hopefully I'll see you on Showreel Surgery tomorrow night. And if you're not a member of our community, come and get involved. Just give it a month. Let me show you how this can really change your career for you. @onthis.tv. Get a membership and I'll catch you with you very soon. All right. Love to you all. Until next time. Bye for now.
For those people who are like, you know what, I do want to branch out and I want to create my first short, what kind of like would be your advice to push you over the line to do that?
It don't sound easy, but it is easy if you put the efforts in. You have to. It's easy, but you have to work. You have to work hard. It's like,
where would someone start?
Picking up a camera first of all, and that camera can just be your phone. I mean, there's all kinds of film festivals now where it could be a festival that is just stuff shot on a phone, so there's no excuse. The best thing I ever did was discover YouTube, because YouTube, I just used to sit in front of YouTube for hours and hours learning everything. So I'd learn about grading. I remember learning about editing. Just like pick up anything, iMovie. Early on, I was doing stuff on iMovie. All of my like video blogs and stuff were done on iMovie. You can see with all the transitions and the titles. So like, just learn. And also, so you've got to, again, it's the same thing, you've got to want to do it. So it's fine saying all of this stuff, but then if you don't want to do it, and by not putting in the effort to teach yourself how to do those things means you don't want to do it. If the thought of you getting up and like going on YouTube and watching like a 20-minute video of how to kind of cut and paste, or how to do the bleach pipe bypass look, or, 3-point lighting, any of that makes you feel like, I can't be bothered with that, then you don't want to do it. So stop moaning about not doing it.
Sometimes actors, will say, but I'm lazy. And I'm like, well, actually, I don't think you're framing that right. If you're not enthused to do it, doesn't necessarily make you lazy. It just means that you're not passionate about that. So you shouldn't explore that part.
You don't want to do it.
That's totally fine. Maybe you bring someone, someone else on board,
or find
to do
somebody
that
else. There's loads of people who are wanting to do it out there. So just go on your Mandy.com or your whatever the Star now, or whatever they're all called these days, and apply and be in all these short films for other people. But it's like, don't moan, say you want to do stuff but you're not willing to put the work in, because everyone is sitting and goes, you've done so well and you've done all of that. It's like, I was a hermit for years, and I still am now, really, and I still watch. If you open my YouTube now and you look at it, all the videos are about like a different editing styles or lighting styles or different things. I'm always, even though mostly I'm behind a monitor now, but generally it's like, I want to keep up with what's going on. Whatever you want to be, you should always have a little bit of an understanding of the person doing the other job.